If you're interested in pursuing an MBA, online or not, you'll want to stick around because this is the first video of a multi-part series I'll be doing, walking you through my online MBA experience to give you some detailed perspective that hopefully you can learn from to help you make your decision. And in this particular video, I'll be walking you through my decision to go the online MBA route, and more specifically, why I chose the iMBA program at the University of Illinois at Urbana Champaign. So stay tuned. Hey folks, Richard Walls here, and if it's your first time on the channel, I'd like to welcome you. And what this channel is all about is helping you with your professional branding, career development, and personal finance. So if you want to see more stuff like that, then hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell so you get notified when I post new content. And of course, if you like what you see, hit the like button down below as well. So here's the story. It was 2018, which was a much more simpler time than today. And I was in a product manager role, which funny enough is probably one of the more popular roles for recent MBA graduates. And I actually did a video on that, which you can check out in the link below in the description. But I was the product manager for one of our commercial laptop brands, and it was a role that I really enjoyed. It was challenging. I loved the people that I work with, and my career was headed in the direction that I wanted it to. Now, although I had been working with a lot of MBA graduates, at this point in time in my career, not having an MBA had not been a barrier to some of my opportunities that I was able to pursue. And realistically, I didn't see that being a barrier anytime soon. But one can never be too sure. So I had been doing some casual research over the few years prior to that, just exploring a variety of different MBA programs, not even online MBAs, actually. It was all full-time MBA programs, just out of curiosity. It was a path that a lot of folks I knew took to advance their career, so I figured it would be something worth looking into. However, in looking at some of the top MBA programs, at least here in the US, I was staring at a total price tag of about $200,000, which isn't even including the fact that I have to forego a salary for 2 years. Folks, to put that into perspective, that is roughly the equivalent of the median price of a home here in the US, which is insane. And a home, that's an asset that has hard value, it can appreciate over time, and you can live in it. You can't live in a degree. So then I asked, okay, if the schools are demanding this much money, what is the return on investment here? What kind of salary can one expect after having completed one of these MBA programs? For the top programs, it appears that the average salary is around $165,000, which is pretty compelling, except when you realize that's an average. You can certainly make more, but it's not guaranteed, and you can certainly make less than that. And if we go down a level from there, the average salary for MBAs as a whole is about $105,000. Now, with where I was in my career and my salary and where I was projecting to be in the next few years on my own without the MBA, it was far from justified in spending $200,000 on the program for that particular financial outcome. To put it a little bit differently, there wouldn't have been enough of an incremental increase compared to where I was projecting for myself without the MBA to justify that $200,000 spend, which is really how you should calculate your ROI for any program that you might be exploring. What you should really think about is how much you make currently and how much you might expect to make after the program. The difference there, that's your incremental increase, and that's what you should be comparing to the cost of the program. So then I looked at some other programs that weren't quite as highly ranked, and I'm talking top 25, top 50 even, but still very reputable schools, fantastic programs, and seeing price tags that were about half the price that some of the top MBA programs are charging. But with that, the salary expectation compared to some of those top programs, it drops a little bit. So really we're back to square one with how much incremental benefit can these MBA programs offer me. Now, apart from the price tag, there's still the issue of having to stop working for 2 years. Because for 2 years, not only are you losing income for 2 years, but you're also foregoing 2 years worth of professional work experience, which for younger professionals, 2 years is a long time in the scheme of your professional career at that point in time. If you're much later in career, 2 years is really not a whole lot. And to top it all off, I might have had to relocate. I would have to focus on school 100% of the time. I would have to be physically in class or working on group projects. And quite honestly, at this point in my life, I've got a lot more obligations now than I did when I was going through undergrad. So there just wasn't a lot of flexibility, and I could use that time on more important things like watching fantastic YouTube videos like this one and hitting the like button down below. And with that, I had all but dropped the idea of pursuing an MBA. Now for my situation, everyone's situation is different, but for my situation, it was unaffordable, inflexible, and it simply wouldn't have been a good return on my investment. Now, at the time that I had been doing all that research, it was probably around the 2016-2017 timeframe, at which point I decided MBA off the table. So since then, I've been pursuing a lot of extracurricular education, been taking courses on Coursera, which is an online learning platform. Now, one day while I was on Coursera, my curiosity was piqued because I saw that, I think it might have been through an advertisement, but I saw on the platform where Coursera was partnering with universities to offer their master's degrees on the platform. And in due time, with a little bit more research, I learned that Coursera was simply a platform through which universities could offer or deliver some of its content. Whereas they would then also use, the university at least, they would use Blackboard for assignment submissions, and they would use Zoom for live sessions. So it was a combination of platforms. Coursera just happened to be one of those avenues to deliver some of the content. So needless to say, I was very interested, and in looking at some of what was being offered, I came across the iMBA program from the University of Illinois at Urbana Champaign. Now, to in advance clear up any confusion that there might be, the iMBA program is simply what the school branded their MBA, their online MBA program. What you get as far as a degree is a true to form MBA. So this is a university I was somewhat familiar with. I knew it was a flagship university for the state of Illinois, much like the University of Texas at Austin is a flagship school for Texas. Had a great reputation, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about their MBA program specifically. Now, at the time, the program was a top 50 program, which for me, it was fine. It wasn't that important. Rankings didn't matter to me all that much apart from looking at the top MBA programs. Beyond that, what mattered to me more was the reputation of the university, which the University of Illinois certainly had a great one. However, here's what blew my mind. The price of the program was $22,000. That's the price of the program. That's not the price for 1 year or one semester. That's the entire program. This was a fraction of the cost of just about every other MBA program out there, including some reputable online MBA programs. If I go back to my original assessment where the average salary for a newly minted MBA being $105,000, I would say a $22,000 investment is looking pretty good. This was the first time that I had ever seen an online MBA from an established, reputable university where price was not a significant barrier. Now, where I'm extra fortunate here is that my employer has a tuition reimbursement policy such that the cost of the program is almost entirely paid for. So this program, this MBA, would essentially be close to free. So it was close to being a complete no-brainer, so much so that I was worried that I was missing something. I consulted, it seemed too good to be true. So I consulted with a few folks and asked them for their feedback, and I asked them, am I missing something here? Because this strategy seems like a good one. This is an absolute win. Now, for me, pursuing this MBA wasn't about changing careers or changing companies. I loved what I did. I wanted to develop my skills further, and I wanted to learn from others in other industries and potentially apply my understanding and my learnings to my current job. Now, one of the hallmarks of this program is you have a lot of people that are early-ish, mid-career professionals, some late-career professionals as well, coming from a variety of different industries. And so when they have that much experience under their belt, the contributions that they can make to class and to everyone else's collective understanding of business, all those contributions are that much richer. Now, to add to all this, I mentioned earlier that I believed I could pursue opportunities and advance my career without the MBA. But at the end of the day, my rationale is this: I would never want the lack of an MBA to hold me back. If having an MBA from a highly respected university gives me an advantage, or at minimum keeps me competitive in a rapidly evolving job market, it's something I should strongly consider. And so after researching everything there is to possibly research on online MBAs, I decided that this program was my only viable path to a quality MBA. So I went ahead and applied, and fortunately was accepted. And at the time of making this video, I'm about 2 years into what I've created as a 3-year track for myself. So I'm actually not far from being done. I don't have too many classes left. Now, everything you heard was my thought process behind why I chose an online MBA, and specifically this program. There may be others out there that have entirely different reasons for pursuing an MBA online, and there may be plenty more that decide online MBA isn't for them. They're going to go the full-time on-campus route because it helps them, or it delivers them what they're looking for their career or for whatever financial goals that they have. Now, I mentioned this was part 1 in a multi-part series that I would be doing. So in future videos, I'll be going into more detail about my experience in the program and talk about different elements of the program in greater detail, so you have even more context on what it's like. So if you want to see those videos, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell down below for notifications so you, of course, get notified when I post new videos like this. And if you have any questions or comments, of course, I invite you to leave a note down below, and I'll answer any questions that you might have about this particular part of my experience. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.